Is there such a thing as too much Sea Dog VA? We're about to find out, because he's here.
That's a really precarious thing to start with in a hotel room.
Well,
is there too much Sea Dog VA? We'll find out tonight.
I'll admit it's a pretty shady backdrop for this one.
Yeah. Well, we're on another one of our adventures, so
Indeed.
We have to make do.
Well, I say too much, Connor, because we've had you in a cyclothon, there's been a wacky weekend. Now this, can't get away from the guy. Alas, we're here today, guys, in a room. And outside the window, we've got the Eye of Sauron overlooking us.
It's very precarious.
I shit you not. Take a look at that. So we're in Shimonoseki at the complete end of Honshu, right at the far tip. And the people of Shimonoseki thought, what better way to commemorate that than building the Eye of Sauron?
Huge fans of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And really, Tolkien was truly ahead of his time.
It's kind of cool. Like Japanese cities love to go overboard with observation decks and
Yeah.
towers. They're like, we have the biggest one. We have the biggest ball at the top of our observation tower. They do like really quirky things to try and stand out. And that one, I don't know what it's trying to do, but I quite like it at night.
It looks cool. It lights up, which is nice, but maybe the roads could be a little bit better. It's fine, it's fine.
Who needs a good road when you can have a tower? Anyway, today we're going to talk about 12 things nobody tells you about Japan. Some of the lesser known stuff. And, Connor, you've been here almost 5 years now.
Yeah.
Like, when we first met, you were the new kid in the block.
Okay.
In the block.
You sound so out of touch. And you say, this new kid on the block.
The youth of today, what do they believe in? But you were new, right? And you came on the channel, we talked about overrated things in Japan and underrated things. Now you've been here 5 years.
Yeah.
Had a breadth of experience to draw from. I think it should be quite interesting.
I think the more I stay in Japan, the more I like Japan, actually.
That's interesting, because I want to talk about that, because you find most people, they hit this point about 4 or 5 years in where the magic sort of fades, and Japan's a bit like, oh, fucking take my stamp to stamp things, the hanky stamp. Whenever you do paperwork, you got to stamp things.
Yeah.
Things started great on you.
But let's share some things that you might not know. But I'm sure you might know some of them, but let us know how many you know down below.
Indeed. And the first one, starting with me,
Okay.
is Japan actually uses thousands of English words, but nobody here will understand it unless you use a katakana accent.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, like, everybody knows konbini, convenience store, McDonald's, Mac, Mac, morning McDonald's. But it gets a bit complicated, and like, it's quite interesting seeing how these things come about, the links right, but like, some of them have been so bastardized that it's kind of difficult to know where the genesis came from.
Okay, do you have any examples off the top of your head?
So if you go to a hotel, right, and you have the morning buffet, do you know what that's called?
I recognise that. If you told me, I'd know it.
It's called biking.
Wait, no, I'd never heard of
Right? You don't know this?
No.
Viking, it means like, so it's really complicated and weird, but the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo, back in like the 1950s, they wanted to have like an all-you-can-eat buffet, and they wanted to use a smorgasbord, the Swedish concept of a smorgasbord.
Okay.
And they were like, wait a minute, smorgasbord, a little bit too difficult to say.
Yeah.
What's Sweden known for? Vikings, isn't it? And so now it's just biking. And when I first found that out, I was like, I don't get it.
Was Swedish people Vikings? I thought it was mainly Danish.
We don't get it. We just don't question it.
Yeah, but I've actually never heard of it.
Really? If you go to like a business
We're in a hotel right now. Let's go. I'm gonna go down right now and ask them. Viking. And Muscat. Viking. And Muscat.
And a Swedish man with a sword will come out and chop your head off.
It's a good point though, because sometimes when I don't know a word, I'll just throw a Hail Mary and just say it in a katakana accent, and then sometimes I'll be like, what the fuck? And sometimes I'll be like, oh, we get you. Like when I went to Coffee Beans, I didn't know the word for grind. They asked me for that at one of the grinds, so I was like, grindwa, shinai. And they went, oh, what kind of?
Oh, wow, what?
Yeah, and they were like, yeah.
I hate saying cold brew coffee in Japanese, because you say that in katakana, and it's like,
cold brew coffee.
Cold brew coffee.
But if you say cold brew coffee, they'll be like, what?
Yeah, you have to get it right?
Or
this
latte.
is the point.
Latte. That's the big one. When you as a tourist you're coming and you try and get a latte, you'd be like, latte. They're like, what? Like, latte. And you feel like an idiot. But that's most of the time. That's how they know it.
Because they learn gairaigo, foreign borrowed words,
Yeah.
but they don't learn like the English word. So, but yeah, a few other examples of like bastardized words that don't make sense. Mansion.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean like a big house. It means a big apartment.
Well, that actually comes from the French word mansion.
Knowledge.
So where mansion just means like any building.
Yeah.
But then there's also other words like Arbeiter, which is German for work, which they use only as part-time, which I found really confusing. It's like, but they wouldn't know any of this context. So it's really odd knowing what words are picked up, but I suppose we do that in English as well.
They don't know the etymology of the word, right?
Yeah.
They just know the word. And also snapku.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean like a snack, it means like an actual bar, a snack bar.
Yeah, it's very odd when it's applied and when it's not. It's very unusual.
It also means rishi snack, because That's how they say his name.
What?
The Prime Minister of the UK. He's known as Snack Sam. He loves a good snack, old Rishi. It got really confusing. I was watching like a political show, and they're like, snack summer. And I was like, snack salmon? What is that? Some sort of provocative snack bar. No, it's Rishi Sunak. Well, that's Rishi Sunak aside. What about the second thing people don't tell you about Japan?
Maybe this is controversial, but I think that asking people for help is more trouble than it's worth 99% of the time. Picture this, you're at a train station, you could pull out your phone and try and figure it out, or just take a guess. If you ask someone, what will probably happen is a long-winded transaction of conversation and maybe them helping you a little too much out of your comfort zone, where they'll be like, I'll walk you to here, I'll take you all the way. You're like, no, it's fine. The other day I was in the gym and I asked the guy, where do I put my umbrella? Because it was soaking wet and I didn't want to put it in the locker and I didn't want to make a mess. And he was like, I'll show you. It was like a Willy Wonka factory tour. We walked like 5 minutes and I was like, seriously, man, you really don't have to follow me. Like, I feel bad. He's like, no. But he doesn't have a t-shirt on. He's wearing, he was changing.
Maybe he just wanted to be in your
And I was like, please leave. And he's like, no, those are. I was like, no, I really don't think you should help me anymore. I can figure this out. And this happens a lot where you'll often ask someone for help. And what will happen is just this comical kind of interaction that just goes on for far too long, and you feel bad because you feel like they feel burdened to help you. People are so willing to help at their own detriment at times in Japan, where I really don't want to trouble people unless I really feel like I have no other option.
That's good advice. Things can get very awkward very fast when you ask for help. Point number 3. Napping at work is completely acceptable.
What would you mean? I do that all the time.
Well, you have a proper job there, mate. You're a streamer, isn't it? You're one of these YouTube streamer people. You don't have a job.
Wait,
anyway.
is it really?
Yeah.
Did you do that a lot? Did you take advantage of it?
I did.
Did you?
When I was a teacher, teachers during the day would just disappear. I'm like, where are they going? It's a secret room at the back.
Yeah.
And he'd go in, and there was a tatami mat floor in the staff room, and they were just sleeping on it.
What?
And I always felt a bit bad doing it. I was like, sometimes I did turn up a little bit hungover. She shouldn't do. Don't drink. It's bad. It's wrong.
Never do.
And I'd get to work, and I'd be like, I'm wrecked. I'm ruined. And I'd be like, but wait a minute. I can have a nap. And I'd sneak off, and nobody's like, oh, Chris Sensei, you're a lazy bastard. They're kind of like, oh, he's working so hard, he needs that nap because he's helping, he's doing so much great stuff. There were people in the staff room who were like just napping at their desks, but that's kind of annoying because the staff room I used to work at about 120 teachers, and you just hear
Certainly if it's you, my God.
I mean, a culture where you need to nap at work raises some questions as well, right?
Trash is a big thing to consider. It's something you have to always think about in Japan because you can never get rid of it. Not even just as a tourist, where you always have to carry it around. Kind of konbinis are kind of the checkpoints in Japan when you're traveling. If you have a sandwich or an onigiri, good luck trying to get rid of that wrapper. The next 5 years of your life, you'll be carrying it to the airport till you touch down.
I mean, I remember Pete got angry at me once because I told him his pockets were like waste disposal size. And he was like, pockets on a garbage incinerator. He had loads of rubbish in his pocket once.
I refuse to put trash in my pockets. I'll just hold on to it. I can't. I hate the feeling of plastic wrappers. So
Pete doesn't. He loves it.
I'll go out of my way to find a konbini. Poor Pete.
He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me.
But not only that, but living in Japan, throwing away anything is an absolute nightmare. The other day I wanted to throw away a small stool. Not a big item, a stool like this big, but it's just over the limit of what you can reasonably throw away.
Why do you want to throw away a small stool?
Oh, I just didn't have room for it. And guess what? Guess the process which I had to do. I had to go to the online website, the government. I had to measure the chair first of all, and the weight of it. I had to give the dimensions of it so they can fit it in the truck. Do that, then go to the konbini, buy 2 stickers, 2 specific type of stickers. There's A, B, and C. You have to get the right one, buy the right amount, put them on it. And then it was 4 weeks away until they came and collected it. And I wasn't allowed to put it at the area to be taken out for disposal until the day before.
Jesus.
So just an absolute process to throw away a stool.
I mean, I just keep rubbish in my house.
I know.
I've got like a while back, Charlotte bought a trampoline.
What?
I jumped on it, it broke instantaneously. And rather than get rid of it, we were like, it's so much effort.
Well,
just put it in the corner.
Go through a JRPG quest to get rid of the bloody thing. Well, it makes so much sense then why people are so considerate of what they buy, because they know at some point the danger of throwing away is not worth the effort.
Fruit in Japan is phenomenally expensive.
Worryingly so.
It is. I mean, it's very high quality. Make no mistake. You have fruit in Japan, you can't go back to like British quality fruit. It's just like
hey, it's not that bad.
Savage wilderberries and strawberries.
But I don't need every melon to be massaged
You do.
by Masamoto and
You do.
Kyushu. I don't need to pay $500. But the one thing I will say is that it makes it really easy to buy gifts to people in Japan.
Well, I mean,
you just buy a melon.
Yeah, they gift wrap, you know, $200 melons.
Yeah.
I had tried a $50 strawberry one time. Gift wrap like gold, frankincense, myrrh, strawberry. Like, it's so good. Like, it's delicious, but the price is formidable. And it's because like there's not enough supply in Japan, right?
Yeah, and also they're getting outpriced by other, poorer Asian countries that were making fruit on such a larger scale. They were flooding it, so Japan realized, let's just make really high quality fruit so that we have our own market here that's domestic. And it worked. I mean, it's famous now. Everyone knows the bloody strawberries that are $10 a bite, but they are good.
But it does mean like eating fruit for fun.
It's not worth it.
When it's not like a world game-changing event or like you're buying a present, it does mean it's kind of pricey.
Not very good value for money.
I'll tell you what is good value for money. The Sakurako snack box this month. Sakurako is a monthly Japanese artisan snack box that supports local Japanese snack makers around the country, with each box packed full of 20 traditional authentic treats, including unique Japanese teas and even special tableware. And this month's theme is Yozakura, where you can experience the enchanting beauty of Japan's cherry blossom under the moonlight. The box begins with this beautiful, stylish design featuring a booklet containing the stories of every snack, dish and ingredient featured within the box. And the box ends, as always, in my mouth, starting with strawberry manju, a luscious milk bun with strawberry jam inside, from Japan as well. Now that is genuinely delightful. While most things in the box have Sakura in this month, this is the wild card option. Roasted soy sauce flavoured corn snack, Puffle. Oh, hell yeah. Good God, is there anything better than butter soy sauce? Puffle might be my new favourite thing. And what better way to wash down all that sweet tasty goodness than with the blueberry hibiscus tea that comes with the box in the Sakurako glassware. Look at that. Charming. Oh, so good. Delicate. Refined. Like the man holding the glass. What better way to experience the joys of Japan from your very own home? Whether you're grabbing a Sakurako box for a very good friend or greedily keeping it all to yourself, treat yourself by grabbing a box of Sakurako, linked in the description box below. Point number 6, what you got?
Japan loves, and I mean loves, point cards. Every single thing that you can imagine has a point card.
I hate them so much because my wallet, I can't physically fit them all.
Well, actually, yeah. Well, you know, a lot of YouTubers, they have these like really sleek wallets that are just cards and they have no cash. This is my wallet.
What is that?
I won't show the cards because obviously
do it. No, that's thicker than the Bible. My God. How many have you got?
A lot of wallets. I have a lot of wallets.
The problem is though, when you go to a supermarket, convenience store, anything, they always go like point card or arimasu ka? And I'm always like, no. And they're like, what? But like, you're just wasting money. But like, I cannot physically carry all these cards. Make it stop.
It's annoying because I was really against the idea. I was like, I'm not getting a point card. It's dumb. Because in the UK we have point cards, and you get a 1/5 of a penny every time you spend £50.
Yes,
and it's not worth it. But I kind of got converted slowly because I would go to my local coffee shop and they're like, well, every 10 coffees you get a free coffee. And I was like, that's pretty good. And also, I kind of really like the interaction that we have because we go there local and then they know that I go there.
That desperate for interaction, Colin.
No, but I really
love talking to the coffee man about my
I do,
one free coffee.
I really like having that kind of rapport. And I feel like the point card, in a way, is kind of like a way of like, it's like a proof. It's like, no, I'm coming here a lot. Some of these point cards are pretty good, and before you know it, by the way, my wallet's full. I can't carry any more cards, and that's the biggest wallet that I can buy. This is huge.
It's the Ferrari of wallets.
I can't buy mine.
It's just ridiculous. You need a bag alone. Connor has like a special bag to carry his wallet around. I'm not even joking. Show the bag, Connor.
Yeah.
No. This is what point cards do to you. You have to buy like a $1 billion Louis Vuitton bag.
I get made fun of whenever I go to the UK and I pull out my wallet. They're like, what is that?
What, mate? I'll fucking beat you up.
Yeah.
They're like, point cards are necessary evil, perhaps. I'm not converted. 12 years
They're
in.
good value for money, and they love them. Get them if you're going to be here for a while. They are good.
Make it stop. Point number 7.
Ooh. 7 points. 3 away from a free one. Sorry. Point number 7. What is it, Chris?
People here in Japan don't wear cologne.
Yeah, it's true. I'm one of those people too.
Why? That's why you smell like
that's why I do
fucking garbage disposal. I mean, to be honest, I remember when I used to wear it at school.
Yeah.
Nobody told me this thing, right? And often when you're breaching rules in Japan, nobody tells you that you're breaking the rules doing
Well, I'll
something.
tell everyone but you.
Well,
They'll all talk about you breaking the rules.
And like, I remember like teachers would walk past me like,
oh.
and I was like, do I smell like
oh no,
like
I'll put more on.
do I smell like a sewage farm or something? I'll put more on. So I'm putting more on. Then they're like, what is that? And like, I remember one time I went through the classroom and like a girl, a student was like, and I was like, but she was like, no, good or smell? And I was like, but is it really? Because often when people praise you in Japan, it's actually like they're sort of telling you something subtly.
Tough line.
You know, and but no, people don't wear it as much here. I've met like businessmen in Tokyo who do put a little bit on. I was drowning myself in it. It was like Joan of Arc. If somebody had thrown a match at me, it would have been fucking flamethrower.
Well, they're fortunate. They don't. In obviously, when you Asian, you sweat less. And then when you do sweat, it doesn't smell as bad as white people.
How unfair is that?
So we need it.
That's not fair. But like, yeah, be wary of that. Don't be me.
Don't put a lot on.
I think it's all about like impeding on other people. Like, and if you walk into a bar and you smell like a French cologne factory, then people are like, oh, that's not fun. So
no, don't do it.
Just be mindful of that. All right, point number 8.
You might know that Japan loves their fax machines and paper, but you don't probably realise just the extent of how much everything needs to be done in person or with paper. And it's just a nightmare for no reason.
Really bad.
There is kind of a refusal to adopt online systems.
Yeah, do you remember when they tried to phase out the Hanker stamp about 2 years ago? When you do banking, right, you need this really annoying stamp. And literally just 6 months ago, I was going to Canada. I forgot my Hanker stamp. And they would not let me like withdraw money. And I was like, what? I need the money or I can't go. And they were like, no. And they like consulted with managers. You could see like 4 people were like, no, you need your stamp. So I had to like travel all the way across the city, get this little tiny stamp and be like, on the paper.
It's so ridiculous.
Can we use your signature? Can we use Face ID? Like anything. Just not the stamp. But anyway.
What's really impressive is that as a tourist when you come here, you almost get to avoid all of that.
All the bad stuff.
Yeah, because you can use all the Suica on your phone, you can use all of the kind of swanky tech stuff that they have implemented that are beneficial and really easy to use. But whenever you live here, you just kind of realise, oh, everything else is awful.
Antiquated.
Yeah. Everything even remotely related to your residency or any kind of healthcare document, everything needs to be done in person. There's nothing you can do online. But they are trying to get better. But it's so slow.
For a country that's very good at doing things when it decides to do something, like, this is one area they've really screwed up.
And often when they would do stuff online, it's so poorly implemented because the websites are so bad that it is quicker to then go in person.
The websites look like they've been conjured up on Microsoft Paint. Yeah. Like, it's really, really unspeakably shit.
It's like playing Zork from like the 80s. You're like, I would like the website to file. You didn't type in the correct search word. I was like, okay.
It's a sad day when Dick Duck and Pac-Man are better than most Japanese websites made in the year 2022. Well, point number 9. Even though most people here know rudimentary English, they're very reluctant to use it.
Yeah, I'd say most people don't want to use it unless they are really forced to.
There's a real fear of like making mistakes, looking a bit silly, but they take it too far. And like,
I often feel that there's preemptive fear when you walk into a place.
So I feel when you walk through the door. Preemptive fear.
It's like nothing has even happened yet. They don't even know if I speak Japanese or English or whatever. But you can tell that fear has been struck into them because they're like, oh God, I might have to speak English.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even when sometimes even if you speak Japanese, there's kind of like what's going on here? Like they're trying to figure out what they're like. What this guy speaks Japanese, or there's odd interaction that can happen sometimes even when you speak Japanese that people will almost not reciprocate. They're like, I don't want to deal with this.
I mean, really, I guess the point here is that people in Japan are shy and they're just very afraid of making mistakes. And that's something that's like kicks off in the classroom. I remember whenever I asked a question, students used to be really reluctant to put their hands up.
Yeah, the whole culture is risk averse.
Yeah, and my God, if they got it wrong, they were destroyed by it. All their all the classmates would laugh.
So
even the teacher would be like, ah! And it's just like, don't make mistakes. Don't ever make mistakes. And like I think it's good and bad because things don't seem to go wrong as much here. things always work. People check things. Things don't seem to go wrong as much.
Yeah.
But it can go both ways. I mean, and like you said a minute ago, with even when you speak Japanese, right?
Yeah.
As a foreigner, in a lot of cases, people will not acknowledge that you're speaking Japanese. And it happened literally just today.
Yeah.
I was in a taxi in Kitakyushu, and I gave a location. And I started trying to direct the guy. I was like, Hidari makate, like turn left, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, he didn't reply. He just did these hand signals, and he just wouldn't acknowledge that I was speaking Japanese.
So sometimes you get the opposite. Though, you get people who are so willing to talk and very excited. But I feel like that's more of the rare side for sure.
And that's something you'll find maybe if you ask for help.
Yeah.
Will be. I think that's a problem, and I think I wish they taught that in the classroom. Like making risks is like a big part of language learning and anything. Yeah. Anyway, what's your next point, though, Mr. Dog?
Number 10. And I'm sure we have been proof of this. Japan is not as healthy as you might think.
Oh my god. Low-hanging fruit kind of.
Well, I think that the common perception that I get from people when they even visit or come to live here, they're like, wow, you're going to lose weight when you go to Japan. It's like,
I thought that.
Everybody thinks
and
that
it hasn't quite worked out
it's
yet.
It's veg, fish, and rice. The occasional little bit of rice, but it's always rice, fried foods, grilled foods, and often getting a ton of vegetables is not what you normally get. I mean, you often get grilled food, grilled fish. A lot of it's very salty.
Sounds like you're making excuses for your own fitness habits.
Listen, I have to go out my way to stay thin here. I feel like it's so easy to let yourself go. There's not a very calorie or fat conscious mind. So people often don't care what's in the food. They're like, well,
that's true.
Just don't eat too much of it.
There's a lot of preservatives and whatnot, but
I feel like when you compare it to something like LA or something that's this complete polar opposite. Everything needs to be documented that's in the food. Every ounce of this food needs to be accounted for. And how many calories is it? And here it's like, oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so eat it.
It's food, isn't it?
Yeah, and so often it's so easy to overeat or eat too much of some foods that you're like, oh, it's probably healthy. It's Japan, but you're like, oh, maybe 15 gyozas for starters. Not that healthy actually.
That's true. Yeah. But despite all this, people are magic, and they just don't get fat. In Japan.
People are very. People just eat normal portion sizes here.
I think it's because people here don't snack.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't snack. They don't like rishi snack. They walk a lot as well.
People
walk more on average than Americans. Probably for that heart.
They walk
Everyone
more than
driving
British
in a
people
car.
too. Yeah, the average steps is really high in Japan. I think compared to other countries.
So people don't snack as much. People walk a bit more, and that kind of offsets the fact that.
Yeah, and then the staples of the diet are often generally a bit healthier.
I mean, one thing about rice, it is obviously quite carb heavy, but it keeps you full.
Yeah, it's really
and that's another reason people don't snack as much on crap. Yeah. Whereas I'm I think I could do with a Kit Kat right now.
And even then, when they do snack, right, it's dried squid. It's not exactly the kind of the appetizing Kit Kat or Pringles that you might go for. But they do have those.
Very true.
And the konbini I feel like is slowly getting more unhealthy.
With every passing year, the fried food counter gets bigger and bigger. And I've noticed they used to have oden, the kind of boiled food. You might not like it, but it's kind of healthy-ish. It's
That's
not
why I don't like it.
Get something fried. I don't want it. And they sort of just got rid of that. And it's let's just make the fried food bit a bit bigger. And I'm like,
it's interesting how it's changing. Yeah.
But
what's number 11?
My last point number 11, and this is quite a bold one. Most Japanese towns look awful. Because utilitarian.
Yeah, I mean...
Buildings, my God, right? And we're going to find this out on our cycle when we go across Honshu. Outside of major cities, most towns in Japan, they look the same. They're the same amenities, but the buildings, my God. We have this image of castles, neon
tiles,
Kawada roof tile, and actually no. Most kind of traditional buildings are being demolished with each passing year. People are getting these utilitarian homes that look like they're made out of plastic and wood.
Yeah,
they've got no discernible features other than functionality. Right.
Yeah, you'll see it a lot in Tokyo as well when you go out to more of the residential areas. You'll see these 2-3 story buildings that look kind of cookie cutter.
Cookie cutter.
They're these kind of almost like Lego type houses that are just prefabricated. And I think that a lot of the architecture that people come to love about Japan is kind of gone in there. And obviously you can't expect people to have that every day, but it is kind of sad to see it slowly going.
I mean, it's good and bad. Japan doesn't have a housing problem, right? Whereas like the UK, the US, nobody can afford anywhere. In Japan,
it's good.
they have a lot of apartments. There's always apartments, and so the price is lower. So they're thinking of it from that perspective. And also, of course, they have to factor in earthquake proofing because there's lots of earthquakes here.
Yeah, it's the main reason why a lot of the older buildings end up getting demolished, is because they're just not up to the code nowadays. And
it has its reasons, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wish they could like try and find a way of making them look nicer. Because when we're driving through this town, Shimonoseki,
it's really bad.
It's hideous, you know, it really is. The Eye of Sauron, they spent all their money on that clearly, which does look kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the rest of the town
very
looks
grey.
just awful. You know. I remember having this debate on Trash Taste with
Garner
me,
really
you,
likes
Joey,
Japanese
and
architecture.
Garn. Garn and Joey were like one side, you and I were on the other.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that I don't love Japanese architecture, I do. And I love like taking photographs of it and whatnot, filming it, but just be prepared that it might not be quite what you've been sold in the pamphlets, the brochures, or on CDOG VA.
Yeah, exactly.
So bear that in mind. Point number 12.
All right, maybe it's a boring one, but it's about cinemas again. Now, you know that I love my cinemas, and I always want people to go to them, because I think it's a lot of fun. And in Japan, they have some unique touches, which I quite like. But one thing that they do, which especially nowadays with this being a problem, is that they always stay for the credits.
They do, yeah.
And they don't turn the lights on, so the credits roll and people wait. And
you don't stay for the credits.
I don't stay for the credits.
He's a busy man. He has to get out. He has to go and do a stream and make the world a better place.
I think that after credit scenes should be illegal. I think that they are annoying. Don't make me sit through it.
You won't be saying that when Connor the movie comes out.
There'll be no such thing. It'll be a trailer. But it's one aspect of the cinema going experience that always gets me a little awkward, because the movie wraps up, everyone sits, and I'm like, sorry.
It is, yeah.
Sorry.
In the UK, right, the moment the film finishes, they
gone.
put the lights on, everyone walks out.
Gone, yeah.
In Japan, I'm also the same. Usually I've sat there, like June, right?
Yeah.
I sat there for like 3 hours, watched and I was like, I need a toilet.
Yeah, I need to go
And then
to
the credits start rolling and nobody's moving. And I'm like, oh God, please. And I was like,
There's an on game.
It's a problem.
Especially because nowadays with credits. So the reason why is because they want to show respect to all the filmmakers. They put all their hard work into it, but also I want to go to the toilet. So I watched The Godfather recently in cinemas. Credits.
Oh, no.
30 seconds. It was gone. It was done in like 1 minute tops. And then I watched, I think it was one of the recent Marvel movies, and it never ended.
Yeah.
They were like, we filmed one scene on location. Here is every single man who we spoke to.
Man, woman, and child in that area.
Yeah. I need to go pee.
Clearly a very sore point for Connor, but there you go. When you're in a cinema in Japan, nobody's going to move.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I feel like I'm the Lisan Al Gaib when I step up, and they all step up with me. People actually do leave when I leave. I noticed. Occasionally, some guy will sit up, and I walked past this one guy, and he looked at me like, and then he followed me, and I was like, yes, come, we can all leave the cinema together.
You make it sound like you're a prophet.
I feel like I was, and I was like, you can leave the cinema. We can leave it all together right now.
My God, the world's
They can't
shittest
stop
prophet. The world's shittest prophet. But thank you very much, Connor. As always, 12 things that nobody tells you about Japan. Some of those points were good. But let us know what you think we missed, guys. Let us know what you think you missed. I hope you're here. I hope you didn't walk out the credit sequence. But for now, guys,
play the credits. 20-minute flight.
We'll see you soon on another wacky weekend. Have yourselves a good one, and bye for now.
Bye.
To the Eye of Sauron.
You can leave the cinema. We can leave it all together right now.